Welcome, bookie bashers, run line cashers, total busters, dog line hustlers. This is the Who-Bangin Sports Talk channel. This is Light It Up with the smooth operator, Nolly Knowles, and yours truly, Don Rici. We're going to have another installment of our MLB Playoffs, so settle in and let's light it up. We just finished the division series where there was everything and more you would want in playoffs. There was come from behind victories. There was great pitching. There was great hitting. So today what we're going to do is first talk about the division series, then go into our championship series that starts tonight with the Nats and the Cardinals. But before we do all that, I know there's someone that has a lot to say about this last division series. So welcome in, Nolly. Time to light it up. How you doing today, Nolly?
How's it going, Dom? Yeah, man, I do have quite a bit to say, still licking my wounds over the series. And, yeah, I got quite a bit to say about a whole lot right now, man. But I do have to say there's some great baseball. I mean, what else can we want? This 2-game 5 series from the National League. As a baseball fan, that's awesome to see.
Yeah, you know that. I love that too, man. Like I said the other day, every pitch is magnified. Every play just has so much more to it, and it's great to watch. We'll have a few more weeks left, so all of October it looks like. I read that if the World Series goes to Game 7, I believe it's on August 30th or 31st. So we have a couple good weeks left off. But let's just start first, Nolly, with the division. We all know that the Nats beat the Braves. We all know that the Astros beat the Dodgers. What do you have to say about the first of all, what do you have to say about the Dodgers? Because I know that's close to your heart.
Well, the Dodgers, I mean, I thought that was a brutal way to lose. But it's hats off to the Nationals. Nothing against that team. They went out and took it. They realized it was a 9-inning game. They went out and scrapped, were able to tie that game up. And I think a big difference in that series was the difference the contrast between the two MVP candidates with Bellinger and Rendon. Rendon showed his ability big time. Everybody talk about badmouth Kershaw, but you look at that ball 4 or 5 inches off the ground. It was a great hit. But I do have a lot of question marks on how Dave Roberts handled the bullpen. A lot of arms were sitting there just waiting to be used, and he didn't use them. I felt Kershaw had no business seeing Soto. He had done his part coming in already. As soon as he gives up that bomb to Rendon, I felt he should have been pulled. And then at the end, even leaving Kelly in for that long, he gives up a walk, then a double, should have been yanked. The big guy that we left the guy in the bullpen that was specifically there in Colaveras, I believe it is, and Kolarek, I'm sorry. And he was in the bullpen just to see Soto, and he just got left there. And I just think you got to empty the clip. You got to put everything on the table trying to win a Game 5, and that wasn't done. So that's why it's hard for me to swallow this loss, especially after a 106-win season. It's brutal, but hats off to the Nationals.
Yeah, I tell you, they had something about this Nationals team. They got that mojo working. I think I might have made a mistake when I first talking about it. I know it was the Nationals against the Dodgers. I think I said the Nationals against the Braves. But everybody knows my mistakes. Usually it's me typing. I'm usually the king of typo. So everybody knows my mistakes usually. But yeah, I'll tell you, those Nationals, whenever you think they're down, they just keep on coming back. It's something that they didn't do in years past, and it's something they've been doing since, really this year. But since September, I really feel the Nationals have been the hottest team in baseball.
Yeah, there's what you said right there. I got a quote from Rendon when they interviewed him after the game. He said, "Oh man, keep fighting." That's the story of maybe this organization, So, and that's what they've been doing. They're fighting, they're scrapping. That's what they did in that wild card game, down big, and they were able to come back late. Did it again with the Dodgers. So they're a scrappy team, man, and different guys are doing it. They're mainly being carried by Rendon and Soto for most of the season. Zimmerman is getting hot right now, and they're definitely fighting. They're finding ways to win. They got a solid lineup.
Well, I'll tell you, there's going to be some series with them and the Cardinals. That's for sure.
Oh,
On this next round, I'm looking forward to that for that game one. They got some pitching over at. So now with the bats, though, a lot of these teams seem pretty similar. The Cardinals and the Nats. They seem pretty. I mean, they both have great pitching. I think the Nats might have a little bit of a little higher up on the pitching, but I'll tell you, with guys like Wainwright and Flaherty, it's hard to go wrong with these Cardinals.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big question. Well, I'm not so sure if it's a big question, but that's going to be a deciding factor. Is I think Wainwright at home. He's proven that he's solid, but I do still somewhat give the advantage to starting pitching to the Nationals, but the bullpen is definitely going to go to the Cardinals. So we have to see how they're going to attack this series as opposed to the 5 games with the Dodgers. They emptied out the clips with their starting pitching. They didn't want a lot of their bullpen guys going. He's trusting only 2 guys out of the bullpen, and he kept using his starters. You saw Corbin come in. You saw Scherzer come in.
Yes.
Strasburg even came in and relief. And is he going to be able to deploy that same strategy here in a game 7? I don't know. That's going to be tough. And I think some of those question marks on the bullpen are going to need to be answered. And I think that might be a big factor in this series.
Like we know there's such a big difference with the Game 5 and Game 7 series, especially with the pitching, on who you're pitching, on which games you want at home. And it's just something that really means a lot more. And for teams that had a great pitching setup for a 5-game series, not necessarily it's the same way in a 7-game series.
Yeah. No,
what do you think about that?
No, definitely. You got to. It's a whole different ball game. You got to switch up your strategy.
Yeah.
It's 7 games. It's quite a bit of games. It's a big difference. Are those pitchers going to start getting tired towards the end? Are you pitching them on short rest?
Right.
There's a lot of different things going on with the Game 7, and those are not regular innings. You know what I mean? Those are a much more intense, emotionally intense innings that are going to get to you. You got a couple runners on, you're stressing. They're a lot heavier, I feel.
So how'd you feel about the way the Astros and the Tampa Bay series ended up? We kind of knew the Astros were going to come out last night hard, but in the back of my mind, I still thought Tampa Bay had a little glimmer of hope after winning that game the other day. I'll tell you, Tampa Bay deserves a lot of credit. They've been winning over 90 games 5-6 years in a row. They deployed a whole new pitching theory that teams like the Yankees are using. So, it's something what they did. But what do you think about the Astros? Better team, I guess, won in the long run, right?
Yeah, the better team definitely run. And then something we can't ignore is the continuing dominance of Cole. Wow. I agree. When you're looking at how everything has transpired, you're going to say that, the Tampa Bay Rays have a chance because they're a solid team. But there's just a couple of factors that were hard for me to put money on them at all, and that's just the way Cole's been pitching and the way they play at home. In their last 43 games, they're 35-8 at home. They've been on a tear at home, and that's something I just couldn't ignore. And the fact of Cole, he's creating history in the MLB right now. He's gone. He set a record 10 Ks in 11 straight starts.
Wow.
135 in that span, and that's nuts. You look at that game with Tampa Bay. There is nobody other than the home run. Nobody else got into scoring position.
No.
He was flat out dominant. But another thing that I saw that was interesting that Glasnow mentioned, he said that it was obvious that he was tipping his pitches. And that's something that we've seen this Houston team do before, even against the Dodgers. You've seen him in the dugout. They're mentioning how he's holding the ball inside his glove against Baez. That was so when when you would see his hand, he would be a fastball, something to that extent. So these guys are studying their motion, and it might be true. Maybe they did, and maybe Glasnow adjusted. That's why he was able to get success later in the game.
Oh, I totally believe in that whole theory. They talked about Noah Syndergaard tipping his pitches a lot this year. And as we know, he didn't have such a great year as he was supposed to.
Oh,
A lot of pitchers do that. So yeah, that is definitely something that I think it probably with a pitcher you don't even realize, man. You just start doing something a little bit different. But with all the technology today, every little thing is captured. So
yeah,
you don't know what you're doing, but the camera knows. That guy that's just watching you from wherever in the stadium, because we know that happens. This one guy that has a job, I would love that job. Just has a camera on the pitcher the whole time with a headset saying, "Hey, he's holding his hand a little bit this way every time he throws a slider." So definitely definitely something pitchers got to look at for sure. But yeah, like you said, that Derek Cole is unbelievable, man. He's just he's unbelievable. I mean, is he up for a Cy Young? I mean, is he in the running? In my head, Flaherty is the Cy Young, but Cole it got to be in the running. No.
Well, I mean, I think he's definitely the Cy Young candidate. You know, for the American League, he leads in just about every category but one, I believe, and that's I think wins, and that's behind Verlander.
Right.
But he leads in every other category, and he's been flat out dominant. And then you know what? And there's even talks about MVP, and because of how dominant he's been. There has been a couple of starts. I heard there's a couple of starts, and you talk about tipping pitches early in the season where he gave up seven runs in like an inning and 2/3 against Texas, and I remember that game because I actually made an appearance with Jimmy right here with my man DJ Big Boss, and I alluded to that, and he was talking about he was tipping his pitches, and the very next game he was lights out, back to normal. Right. So you know he might have well been. And there was a couple another start. I know he gave up 5 runs, but other than that, especially down this run, it's been something exciting to watch, and it kind of reminds me of Bumgarner's dominance when the Giants went on their run in the postseason. You know, right. I think they're going to be able to lean on.
Very true.
You know, I think that's somebody they can maybe lean on, and a big thing, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but it looks to me they're going with a 3-man rotation over there in Houston with the starting pitching. To me, that might be the case, but I think if somehow you can eventually get a Game 7 with Cole out of the bullpen, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. We'll touch it. Well, actually, we don't know what the lineups are going to be for that game 1 is tomorrow night, Yankees and Astros. But we'll touch on that a little bit later. So I know we have some thoughts on who should pitch. And like going back to what I was saying about 7-game series, it's a whole different thing setting up your pitching rotation, that's for sure. But these 3-game starting packages these teams have, I think they're doing that thanks to Tampa Bay, showing them how to do those bullpen games, you know? That's really a big difference this year, maybe, you know? So, but let's first of all, we have a big game tonight, man. Nationals at the Cardinals. 2 teams that have been there before. Two great pitchers pitching tonight. I shouldn't say that. Tonight, that's the Nats are starting off with Sanchez. But he did pitch a great game last time out. And towards the end of the year, he did come out. But these National team and the Cardinals team are they're the 2 better teams since, I would say, mid-August, and they really showed why they belong in their spot. So they're playing for the championship. This should be a real good series. What do you think about this now, Nolly?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they are pretty evenly matched. Like you said, these teams were not looking too hot, especially like you look at the Nationals. In May 23rd, they were 19-31.
Yeah.
You know? From there, they go on a 74-38 run. After that, that's crazy hot. And the Cardinals were just about 500 in July, you know, and they ended up taking their division away from the Cubs, which was a little bit surprising to me, you know. But that team's been scrappy. That bullpen has been great, and they're definitely in for a tough matchup. One thing I did notice in head to head with them in their regular season, the Cardinals were 5-2. And in September, they beat Washington 2 out of 3 at home.
Yes.
I think that's a big factor going into this game. I understand how Washington's hot, but Cardinals are going to feel very confident going into this series. And you touch up on Sanchez, and something with Sanchez, he's not the same pitcher he once was. He's had to reinvent himself. Something that even his teammate Max Scherzer has alluded to. They were teammates back in Detroit. He's talking about how he's throwing the different changeups, how he's had to locate the pitches a lot more. But one thing that remains consistent is his postseason success. He's had 8 starts, 9 games. He's got a 2.98 ERA, and he's finding different ways, different strategies to get guys out. He talked about the Dodger game, whether or not he's going to take some of those things into this game, and he's talking about how each game is different, and he's going to try to deploy a different strategy. He's going to try to break it down and get with Suzuki. And I'm hoping Suzuki's all right. He's
I was just going to mention him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal to me, because especially this type of pitcher in Sanchez, he needs that communication. He needs that connection with the catcher to be able to call a good game. But I think Sanchez can have a good game here. I definitely do.
I didn't see I seen the opening lineups for the Cardinals. I didn't see the one for the Nats. I'm not sure. Oh, what I did read though about Suzuki is that he is going to be pinch hitting. They're going to use him as a pinch hitter for now. So I guess he might not be starting.
He might not be starting.
That was something. He got lucky there. The ball hit off his wrist and then trying to hit his face and then hit his helmet. But man, he got lucky. Yeah. He really could have got hurt with that one.
Definitely.
Without a doubt. So when the series, we got the Nats and the Cardinals. I see the series prices at, I know things change with all these books and stuff, but what I'm seeing now is, I think it was Bet Online maybe, Nats were minus 130 to win the series, and the Cards were plus 110. I was a little surprised. I thought there was be a little bit closer. I didn't think they would put the Nats at 130, but I could see why they did. I do think they're a better team. I just have a hard time picking one of these teams. Right now, I haven't picked a series winner yet. I feel these guys are real close. Real close.
Yeah, no,
what do you think about those series prices, Nolly?
I definitely agree with what you're saying. It's. I think this is a really close series. These guys, I think they're going to go at it. I think we're in for two good, really great championship series. I'm really looking forward to it. But I guess if you're going to make a play saying that it's such a close call, I think you got to take a shot with the home team and getting plus money.
Yeah.
I think that would be the call. I think the reason you see Nationals maybe favored because they maybe have a deeper starting rotation, and that's what they've shown. They got 4 guys that have been capable of having great starts in this postseason, and I expect that to continue. So I think maybe that's why they're getting favored.
Yeah, and I believe that, beating the Dodgers with that public, Dodgers are a big public team. It's like beating the Yankees. You might get another 10, 15 cents just because of that reason. Maybe if they did, what I'm saying, they just if it was the Cardinals against if the Dodgers weren't in it, let's say it was a team that's not a great, national team, maybe the line would be a 115 instead of a minus 130. I think that might have something to do with it. I'm not sure. Yeah. I have no idea how these guys think when they come to set up their lines. But, but for tonight's game, anyhow, that's the most important, game 1. And that's what we're trying to do. We've been hot. In our picks so far. I had a pretty good week with baseball. But I'll tell you, just if you took a look at my week at betting baseball, it really is a map on how volatile and how crazy baseball betting really is. I mean, I opened up Monday saying, first of all, that I was getting too cocky, that I was making too many bets. And, of course, being too cocky, I make the bets. Saying I shouldn't. I make 9 bets. I go 3 and 6. I usually don't make 9. 4, 5, maybe 3, never 9. I go 3 and 6. What happens the next day? 2 and 0. The next day, 5 and 0. So it just goes to show you that up and down. You go 7 and 0 in 2 days, and 3 and 6 one day. It's you come out really 10 and 6, which I'll take all the time. But it doesn't sound as good as because that 10 and 6 it isn't plus 4 units. It was probably. Well, actually, it is because the Tampa Bay was a plus 225. So I might have maybe I got the 4 units, but I lost a little bit. Losing those 6 games wasn't just 6 units. It was probably 7.5 or something like that. So, but like I said, it just goes to show you. And it just also goes to show you when people out there, you got to listen to these guys that like to make all their predictions and pat themselves on the back. A guy like had my record this week. He'll come on and he'll say, "Hey guys, I'm hot. Last 2 days, 7-0." Yeah, but you went 3-6 the day before that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's always something I always, we get into our talks about, free picks and play services and this and that. But that's something everybody got to watch out for. It's just like stats. You can always go back a certain day to make your stats sound better. You can always go back an extra week to make that stat sound better or worse. So
yeah,
it's something to keep in mind.
No doubt.
Baseball is just so volatile. How about your week, Nolly? You had a decent week, though, baseball.
I had a decent week. Yeah, I took a couple losses with the first 5 unders, but I was able to catch some good live unders, and that's something that I mentioned on the show with the Rays. I was able to grab something yesterday with a 9.5 in that game. I expected it to just settle down, and even with the Braves game, I got a little wild. That one got a little dicey. I thought maybe I messed up, but I was able to catch that as well. And that's the way I kind of took those last few games, live betting it. It worked out a little bit better for me that way in those games.
Yeah, it seemed like it worked out great for you with these National League teams. I'll tell you, if you don't know, Nolly, we're talking, we're texting each other. The Braves are up. The Nats are up 10-0 in the first inning. Nolly takes it under live 17.5. The game's already has 10 or 11 runs in already, and that was just a great look. That was just great. The game ended up 13-1, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and
I was just a ballsy play, man. I just loved when I heard you say that.
Well, towards the end of the game, it's some of the announcers even kind of mentioned. They're mentioning how it's typical. They're talking about how many straight outs there were, and it's kind of what happens. The kind of game felt like it was over. You see the Braves were depleted. They were taking lackluster swings.
Yeah, they were done.
They're just mowing them down. But at the same time, they kept Flaherty in. That's some guys were saying take him out. Save him for game 1. But
they even let him hit.
Yeah,
they let him swing. It was at the 6th inning. They let him swing and they let him go back out there. Hey, he was feeling good.
Yeah,
he said, "Leave me. Let me get my 100 pitches in or whatever." So
I thought I you know what, I didn't have any issue with it. At first, I was the same way, take him out. But I thought at the end, it was the right call. Let him do his thing, and let's not take any chances. Let's make sure we're moving on. Let's not play any games. So
exactly. You never know. Hey, as easy as we scored 10 runs, they could score 10 runs, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And that offense has shown that they can.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. The Braves again go home. Same thing they did since 2001.
Yeah.
I think it was that long. It's bad mojo going on there in Atlanta. But so tonight we have pitching for the Nats is Sanchez, and pitching for who we got pitching tonight? I've got Sanchez
and Michaelis.
Yeah, Michaelis. That's right.
Yeah, you got Michaelis going.
So both of us really keyed in on those first 5 unders at the beginning of the series, at this last series, the division series. Then we noticed towards game 4 and 5 that those bets weren't working. The teams are getting used to the situation. They were seeing these pitches again, in 3 days apart, and we really feel like that really affected why those first 5 unders weren't working then, correct?
Yeah, definitely. I agree to that. You see the intensity just getting bigger, building as the series goes on. And like you said, the moment they're getting comfortable in the moment and seeing the pitchers over and over again, the same guys you're trusting over and over again, you're able to get to some of these guys.
Yeah. I'll tell you. So that's something we're taking a look at with this game 1. New series, new emotions, new a lot to play for now. Now you're playing to go to the World Series. This is huge. Let's talk about the players for a minute there, Nolly. Michaelis had a good year. A lot of guys always don't really like him too much. I'll tell you. he had a steady coming, and he finished off the year right, and he had a good outing, his first outing, even in a loss. He didn't have a bad pitching outing. What was that 3-1 loss that first game that he pitched, right? I believe the game one against the Braves. I think it was a 3-1 loss. He pitched well in that loss, I thought. What do you think about him today?
Michaelis, they won that game one when he started. They lost game two with Flaherty.
That's right.
You know, but I agree with what you're saying. The guy, I'm higher on him than a lot of other people.
Me too.
Just right there with you, and I expect him to be right there where he was with the Braves. I expect him to come in and pitch well. He's talking about he's ready. He's going to do stick to the basics, he says. And another thing he says, he's going to throw the whole book at him, is what he says.
All right.
So I think he's going to be ready to go. He showed that he's comfortable in the stage. I expect him to pitch very well. And like you said, as opposed to earlier in those last series, towards the end of the series, that the hitting starts catching up. We're kind of resetting here is kind of how I feel. And with these pitchers, I expect them to do well. And these guys here in the postseason, they know that even if they go 5, that's great. You know, that's fine. We'll go to the bullpen after that. And that's why I'm going to be focused on the first 5s again. I'm going to keep going back to the well, go back to our original strategy. And I think it's going to work here. I think it's going to work here in this game. I'm going to take a shot at the first 5 under 4.5.
Yeah, myself too, man. That is our lighted up strategy, man. It really is. I think the line was what, -110 for the first 5. I have that written down somewhere.
Well, I've been seeing it move around. I saw it moving around last night, so I don't know the most recent. I can pull it up here.
Right, but it was still at 4.5 because that's when I took it right before the show.
Yeah, still 4.5 across the board as of now. Yeah, and I think there's value there. I don't see 5 runs. I'll say it again about the National League. The fact that the pitcher hitting is a big factor for me. And I mean, they talk about Michaelis being susceptible, but this is the playoffs. This is a big environment. Like you said, this is a big. They have to like kind of regroup because now the stage has got a little bit bigger. You know, that crowd's gonna be a little bit louder. You know, and they're gonna have to adjust in those first few innings. So if we get outs early, I'll feel really confident.
I'll tell you. The Cardinals, I was just looking up to see who's going to be independent, what their lineup is going to be. They're going to keep the 3 lefties in their bullpen. And that kid Gant, the righty, he's off the roster again for this series, like he was in the division series. They got the, Andrew Miller and the kid Tyler Webb. They're both pretty good lefties. And I know there's another lefty out there in that pen. Cabrera. Yeah. And so they're going to keep their which I thought was interesting. They're keeping their lefties in the pen, but not their big righty in the pen. I thought that was a little bit interesting for the Cardinals. I think their lineup: Fowler, Wong, Goldie at bat and third, Azuma, cleanup, Molina, Carpenter, Edmund, and DeJong is at shortstop, batting ninth or batting eighth. So I'll tell you, these Cardinal teams, man. But tonight, I even think they have tonight. So I like the first 5. I do kind of like the Cardinals, and they're at a plus price to win tonight. I think they're plus 110 or maybe or something like that.
Yeah,
I think the Nats were 111, right? The Nats were minus 111 for the game, and or is that the series?
No, I believe that's the series. I see St. Louis as the favorite here.
Oh, wait a minute now. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I do like the Cardinals tonight. But what about you, Nolly?
Yeah, I definitely lean towards the Cardinals. I think they have the advantage in the bullpen. That's something that I mentioned earlier. I'm curious to see what Washington's going to do if they got to go to the bullpen. So I don't expect Sanchez to go too deep. His 3rd time around the order, they're hitting about 300 off of him, a lot more home runs. Guys start figuring him out. He doesn't have overpowering stuff. So they're going to go to the bullpen early. He's not going to – I don't expect him, at least, to go 7 or 8. So I'm curious to see what happens. And the confidence I have is in the Cardinals bullpen. And the way Ozuna's been swinging the bat and the way Goldschmidt's been hot, I definitely lead the Cards tonight. I definitely think there's a good chance the Cardinals pull off the game 1.
I'll tell you, another thing with this game, with the 7-game series, the Nats can't really be pulling their starters out so much into these games with a 7-game series. They're throwing Corbin out there, Scherzer out there. They can't really do that in a series like this, correct? I mean, you go up 2 games in a 5-game series. That's big. You go up 2-0 in a 7-game series. You're not out of it by no means. Yeah. So you really got to watch your put your starters out as relievers in the 7-game series. I think
this is the tough part. That's why they get paid the big bucks. Because you're gonna have to definitely do some managing here. You're gonna have to strategize, and that's the fine line you're gonna have to walk. Am I going to strategize for the long run, or am I going to strategize to win today? And that's the decision that they're going to have to make. And that's a gamble, because are they going to overdo some guys? They're going to ask some guys to pitch on short rest. And, this is the time to do it. But, typically you see the numbers. They're not good. You saw Verlander get touched up. And it's something that you don't want to be doing early, So hopefully they can rely on some of their bullpen because they're going to need it. They're definitely going to need it in this 7-game series.
That stat I don't remember the exact stat, but that stat with starting pitches on 3 days rest in the playoffs. When I read that, I read it on SBR. It was amazing, and it was about 10 minutes before the game between Tampa Bay and Houston, the game 4. And I read that about 5 minutes before the game, and it made me immediately bet the Rays at plus 225. And I had no thought of betting the Rays at all for the day. I bet the team total over 2.5. It was about minus 130, which I don't like even betting that high on a team total. But it's the playoffs, so because usually I won't go over minus 120 on a team total. But with the playoffs, I raised my line a little bit. But I had that one in my pocket already over 2.5. That was the game 4. And then I read that quote, and I read the stats on the game 3, and I'm like, why would anybody put their picture in this situation? I'm gonna have to find it and put it out there for those of you who didn't. I'm gonna tweet it out there. I'll find it and tweet out the exact stat in case anybody didn't see it. But it was just amazing. It's the only reason why I took Tampa Bay in that game. But like you say, pitching in game 7s in 7-game series is just huge. How about this Cardinal lineup? I'll tell you, Zuma had a 4.29 average versus the Braves in this past series. It was unbelievable. Guy goes 9 for 21, 5 RBIs. Goldschmidt 9 for 21, two ribbies. Wong 5 for 20, 4 ribbies. I mean, these guys were hitting, man. These guys were hitting. That's some little key. That's some part of the lineup, man. I love Azuma. I think Azuma's a great player. Something about him, man. I love his attitude, that big smile on his face. I love watching the guy play ball.
Yeah, definitely. Going into the series, I thought that was a big question mark. He had a bad September. He couldn't hit the ball. Hitting about $120 somewhere around there, and it was great to see him turn it around.
Yeah,
I think that was a big factor in that series with the Braves. The fact that he was able to hit and Freddie Freeman wasn't, and Goldschmidt getting hot, that's something scary because
that's scary.
That's an MVP caliber type of guy.
Yeah.
That's the reason they got him. That's the reason they got him, because he's solid and he gets hot. Watch out. He hits home runs in bunches.
He sure does, man. He sure does. And the Nationals have that same kind of core. I mean, that home run that I know Kershaw got a lot of crap for the way he pitched, and deservedly so. But that one pitch he threw to Rendon that was at his shins, he golfed that ball right out of the stadium, man. I see Pete Alonso do that. These guys, man, are so strong that that low pitch sinking down, he just golfed that ball right like a 3-iron over the wall. It was something. That was some piece of hitting right there.
Yeah, definitely. It was great and heartbreaking all at once, Dom.
I hear you. I hear you, Nolly.
Like I said, though, like I said earlier,
team won, though, right?
Hats off. They wanted him more. They played the whole 9 innings. They were able to pitch better. They were able to hit in the pressure situations, whereas the Dodgers weren't able to. The big factor I thought was that, Rendon's a monster. And may very well win the National League MVP, and deservedly so.
Yeah, he's come. He really, he's a great player. If it'll make you feel any better, those Nationals are the reason why my Mets aren't in the playoffs too. They got us all. They got all those teams, man. The Nationals did us all in this year. The soft Nationals aren't so soft anymore.
Yeah, they got over that hump. They've been trying to get in. They've been scratching. 5 failed attempts since 2012. They're finally into that championship series. And
They're on a roll. They're on a roll, that's for sure. So I guess so for tonight, though, we definitely like that first 5 on the 4.5. I'm with you. I think that's a great line. I think the games are going to start out. We hope like it did last series. Teams feeling each other out. A couple innings go quick right by. In this first game of the playoffs, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was runs scored later on. But even the Nationals, that Penn that came into the playoffs with like a 5-something ERA, 2.9 ERA. They sure have pitched a lot better. Of course, we know why, because some of their starters were in there. But who knows? There could be some late runs in this game, but I'm not going to fool around with that bet today. I'm just going to take that first 5 and decide if I'm going to take the Cardinals or not. So today, the game 1 is the Nats and Cardinals. Tomorrow, we have game 2 of the Nats and Cardinals. I don't think they announced the pitchers yet. I would think it would be probably Wainwright for the Cardinals, right? Do you think so tomorrow? What do you think?
Yeah, for game two, that's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing that they're talking Wainwright for game 2, and I think that's the right move. You get more rest to Flaherty. He just pitched. Like
there you go. So he'll pitch Monday then, right?
But yeah, I think Flaherty. Yeah, Flaherty on Monday. Yeah, game 3 on the road. A big factor being another thing is Wainwright's home road splits. He's great in the postseason, but he's even better at home, and that's a big factor. You keep him pitching at home in front of that crowd, he's going to feed off of that and maybe get a glimpse of Wainwright of old. Maybe throw a little bit harder.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But he's definitely succeeded a lot better. So you got to put your team in the best position to succeed, and I think that's the right move.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then tomorrow, which we really haven't touched on yet, which we don't know about the pitchers again, but we have the game 1 and get the big series in the American League, the Yankees versus the Houston Astros. The lineup, the team that everybody thought was going to be this way for the last 3 months. People have been saying Yankees, Astros for months now. So now you guys got it. Yankees against Astros. We did see a series price. It was the Astros minus 160 or minus 165 for the series. That's what it was, right? Yeah. And the Yankees were plus 130, I think it was.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the Yankees were. It was plus.
I'm not sure the exact numbers, but it was somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Yeah.
Houston's
everywhere.
Yeah, Houston's
the old legal pads.
There you go. That's the only way.
All right, here we go. I got the series, the Nats minus. Oh, I got the series, Nats minus 130, Cards plus 110, Astros minus 165, Yankees plus 145.
145.
I think we got these from Bet Online this morning, so they could be checked. But the Yankees plus 145. I know some people are salivating, like our fellow lowbagger Joey Work, my boy from New Jersey, East Coast kid. He's loving big Yankee fan, and I know he's salivating for this series. I mentioned something to him, and I want your opinion. A bunch of my Yankee friends in the neighborhood here were talking about before last night's outcome that they were a little bit more worried about playing Tampa Bay in a 7-game series as opposed to the Astros, which is like apples and oranges. I mean, but they really felt like they had a better chance with the and the 7-game series against the Astros than Tampa Bay. What do you think about that?
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that, right? I know Joey Work included that one.
I mean, I understand. Tampa was solid the way that they were able to deploy that bullpen, and we talked about that already. And I thought that was awesome. Then they give them fits. They do go at it. But to say that
Yankee Rays history too a little bit, us baby.
I don't see that. I see the series price does seem a little inflated towards Houston, but I feel they have the bigger advantage in the starting pitching, and that's what it comes down to in the major leagues. That especially here in the postseason. And you see what Garrett Cole's doing with Verlander and Greinke, and these guys are going to step up to the plate or the mound, really, but they're going to do their thing. And the question marks are the starters on the Yankees side going to do their thing? You know, I do give the slight advantage in the bullpen to the Yankees, you know, but that's not saying anything against these Astros bullpen. They're solid, and but the Yankees bullpen has shown throughout the whole season that they're one of the best in the major leagues, and it's going to be tough. You know, you got Cole calling it a dogfight. You know, they're calling it a heavyweight bout. I'm excited for this series. This series is good for Major League Baseball. This is what people want to see. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll tell you, both of these series I can see going 6-7 games. I really don't see either series, the Cardinals series or the Astros series. I don't see either team really winning in 5 games. Do you?
No, definitely not. You know, I would be surprised as well. And
I would be surprised.
I don't know if that's just wishful thinking on my part, because I would love to see 2 Game 7s. You know, you know,
or at least 6 and 7. Right.
You know, and there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to see it. These 4 teams that are left, they're very evenly matched, like we've talked about, and I think we're going to see some firepower. We're going to see these teams go at it. They're not going to be giving up. You know, you're 4 wins away from going to the World Series, something that they've worked on the whole season. So these teams want it, and I'm expecting some great baseball. I'm excited.
100%. So are you thinking like I am, Paxton game 1 for the Yankees?
Yeah, I don't see them why they would switch it up. You know,
Right.
I do have to say I do expect them to throw Severino in the first few games. I like the way I like that guy. He was able to get out of some tough jams. I understand he pitched himself into trouble, but he also pitched his way out. And he didn't really get to pitch this year due to injury, but the guy's been better and better, and he's been trying to take over as that ace over there.
He had 12 innings pitched before the playoffs, so you had to expect him to come out this last game getting in trouble. And he did get in trouble a couple times. Like you said, that's the key to a good pitcher, that he gets out of the trouble. You know, it's not always how many strikeouts and how many earned runs you give up. A lot of it is, can you get out of those jams? You know, same with teams like the Nationals. They kept on going down and coming back. You know, that's a championship. Championship winners come from behind. You know, and like you say. Severino's good at that. I think they'll probably keep him for, I guess, a game 3, and he'll open up the Yankee series at home in the Bronx Zoo. I guess that's how they're going to do. I would think they go Paxton, then Tanaka, and then I just see the big bald head pop in. I see Paxton, Tanaka, and then our boy Sevy.
Yeah,
I guess that's how they're going to go.
I would expect it to be that way. And then on the Houston side, I think you'll have Greinke, then Verlander, then Cole. That's a little interesting matchup. Paxton against Greinke for game 1. I would think that's what it is. I don't think Greinke's going to have the same kind of performance. I expect Greinke to come out of this and pitch a good game. I expect him to come out and pitch a good game 1. What about you? Yeah, I expect him to have a much better start. You know, that's uncharacteristic of him. They got him for big games. He pitched well in his postseason when he was here with the Dodgers, and he's poised for big games, and he doesn't take that lightly. I know he's upset. He takes a lot of pride in what he does. You know, he tries to be serious, takes a business approach to this, and I expect him to have a much better start. You know, but this is a tough lineup. You know, is he going to be able to have success against this Yankees lineup that's for the first time pretty much all year? They're pretty much fully healthy. You know,
healthy.
And they won quite a bit of games. They weren't too far behind Houston, so they are scary. That kid, Gleyber Torres, he's a monster.
That's the kid I was just going to mention to you. He's a kid that, for me being here in New York, he'll get talked about as much and doesn't get the accolades like some of the other players on the Yankee team. And this kid is a pro's pro. Man. I love this kid.
You see what he did in Game 5, and he showed off what he's capable of doing, both sides of the diamond. And it's spectacular to watch. Me as a baseball fan, I love seeing that. You know, he's making great plays on defense. He's hitting home runs. He's hitting doubles. He's running. He's a 5-tool guy. And I love to see the new talent coming in. There's a whole new wave. You know, everybody I grew up watching is kind of retired, and we got the new wave coming in. And like they talk about, they got a commercial talk about we play fast, and they definitely do. The baseball is changing. These guys are a little bit a different breed, and it's fun to watch with these kids, man.
Yeah, and the Yankees do a good job of changing with the times, man. They don't just lay on their laurels. They I got to give them credit for that. You know, they do know how to keep changing. Like I said, with the times, they got some lineup there: LeMahieu, Gregorius, Torres, LeMahieu 4 for 14. He went in this last series, which still 4 RBIs. Torres 5 for 12, 4 RBIs. Didi 4 for 10, 6 RBIs. So they hit and clutch. Even he went 4 for 14. All right, someone might say that's not so great, but he had 4 RBIs in that 4 for 14 on LeMahieu, for instance. Torres 5 for 12. What else could you want? 4 RBIs. They know what they're hitting clutches. They know when to turn it on. I'll tell you, that Yankee team is tough. Been a thought on my side for years.
Something that you said with the Yankees, they've been having a great approach to building their organization, to build their minor league system. You want to talk about even Gleyber Torres? They got him off that rental for Chapman that the Cubs used Chapman to win their World Series. They saw that they weren't going anywhere that year. They decided to sell him and Miller, and they were able to get some good talent in return, and it's paying dividends now. And I thought those are some great moves, and they got a superstar, and that lineup is deadly. But they haven't seen this pitching from Houston yet, and that's what I want to see, how they match up with these guys. And it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I'll tell you. Well, we'll have to wait for the lines, but sounds like we might be leaning towards that first 5 under again tomorrow with both of these games. Especially with this Yankee, I could see the Yankee game being. I can see those Yankee games being again slow starting, and feeling each other out. I think that's a good way to go with these first couple of games. But it should be a great series, man. So So before we wrap everything up, is there anything else you want to touch on, Nolly? We got game 1 tonight with the NL, and we have a great weekend of baseball. Besides everything else, football, hockey's here, NFL, NCAA. But what do you think?
Oh man, I mean, we pretty much covered it. I'm waiting to see what the starting lineup looks like, and possibly a first 5, depending on what kind of number I get. The big factor is that it's not in that Little League Park in Yankee Stadium. So I'll look at the first 5 under in this game.
And that's something else that you mentioned before we go. It's something else with the pitching rotation. I know they want to they want to start lefties in Yankee Stadium because of that right field porch, and I know that Boone always tries to start lefties in these big kind of games. That's something too that might be him thinking in his pitching rotation, who to pitch. Because the Yankee Stadium, man, that short City Field has it too. I don't know what it is in New York, but they got these short right field porches that these guys can just punch that ball over it sometimes. It's amazing. Your Little League ballpark. That's funny how you put that.
I think I could throw it out of that.
I hear you. So let's give an official play, Nolly, before we go. Today, game 1, Nationals versus the Cardinals. Your official play is going to be?
It's going to be that first 5 under 4.5.
Yes, I'm with you, Nolly. Me too. My official play is definitely that first 5 under 4.5. And I'm leaning towards the Cardinals. I'll tweet it out. My Twitter is at Dom541, and I'll tweet out if I'm going to take the Cards or not. But I'm definitely taking the first 5 under 4.5. Nolly, what's your email? Your Twitter, I mean.
It's at Nolly562.
That's where you find Nolly, man. At Nolly562. So I guess for now we'll wrap this up. We'll try to get another show up. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll have to talk to the big boss and see when we can get this going. But maybe we'll let the weekend go by, see what's going on, and try to do something for the games when they switch towns into Washington and into New York. We'll see what happens. But before we go, let me just mention that tonight on Who-Bangin Sports Talk, we got the great lounge with the boss, DJ Big Boss, and the Sauce, Big Ragu. And me and Nolly will be on, and you never know who pops in and out of that lounge show. It's more for fun. It's a lot of laughs. It's, a few stats, a few picks, but a lot of laughs. So tune in tonight if you guys are around. And until then, Nolly, you want to say anything?
Nope, that's pretty much it. Check us out tonight. You want to hang out?
Okay, man. Nolly, I will talk to you later. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Light It Up with Nolly Knows and Don Rici. And on the Who-Bangin Sports Talk channel, we'll be getting bigger and better, so stay tuned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.